At the end of the day, every realtor has access to the data and the recent sales and the comparables. It's more, managing people and their expectations and their emotions.
Welcome to the Realtors Conspiracy Podcast, where we are dedicated to unraveling the secrets to real estate success. I'm your host, Maude Léger, and each week we bring you insights from top realtors, entrepreneurs, and innovators, sharing their success stories, mindset, processes, motivations, and the key to their success. Join us every Monday for a new episode and discover how to crack the code to success and take your real estate business to the next level. Don't miss out on the opportunity to unlock your potential. This week, I'm speaking with Lindsay Thomas from RE/MAX. Today's chat is all about longevity. Lindsay's journey in real estate is a testament to hard work paying off. From hosting open houses to starting her own staging business, she's done it all to boost her career in real estate. Today, she's here to share the key lessons she's learned and the best advice from her mentors that kept her going. So let's get to my chat with Lindsay. This podcast is sponsored by Sold Right Away, the experts in real estate marketing. You work hard selling real estate, we work hard selling you. From listings to branding, Sold Right Away has you covered. For all your real estate marketing needs, visit soldrightaway.com. Hi Lindsay, thanks for joining us on the episode today. Tell us, what is the key to your success?
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be here and get to kind of share my story. I've been in the real estate business for about 7 years now. I'm starting my 8th year in April as a licensed realtor, but I actually started working at the front desk at our office and had made a switch from education. I was a primary junior school teacher before getting into real estate. So quite a bit different from what I did before, but I just decided I was ready for a change and wanted something a little bit different, and got into real estate actually at the hand of my best friend, who had just bought a house in Burlington after selling her townhouse in Oakville. And I guess the realtor she had at that time reminded her of me. So when I was kind of looking to my friends to go, I want something different, I want to change, I'm not sure what, she was like, what about real estate? Like, we had this agent and she was really bubbly and high energy and she loved her job and she was always kind of coming and going, and that seems like your personality. What do you think? And I remember in the moment being like, are you nuts? Like, what do I know about real estate? Why, like, what about education would translate into that industry? And I can say now, 8 years later, I'm surprised at how much of that experience has actually helped me gain the success that I have in this new industry, or was a new industry at that time for me. But yeah, I guess the keys to success for me getting into real estate was really the people that I surrounded myself with. Like anything, it takes a village. You can't do anything alone. I started off as a solo agent, but felt like I was part of a team, being behind the RE/MAX brand and having a great office of people who were very collaborative. I think sometimes people may get an impression that while real estate is, of course, it's sales and we are each other's competition per se, we can collaborate. There's enough success and business out there for everyone. So I really had great mentors along the way who helped me to, they'd let me tag along for a listing appointment or go help them stage their upcoming listing, and, going along with showings with their clients. So I could kind of hear how they talked to people, what their kind of communication style was, what things that they did that I could take away and go, okay, I'm comfortable doing that. I like that. I never got much into door knocking or cold calling. It wasn't my thing, but some people really excel at that. But much like teaching, you find a way, to connect with people in a way that they understand. And I think this business is the same, where you're constantly, just trying to find a way to make people feel comfortable. You need to be good with people, understand what they're needing from you. And so I got a really good opportunity to sort of see what everyone else is doing and then pick and choose the stuff that I felt kind of resonated with me. And yeah, I haven't looked back.
Amazing. That's such a journey to share from beginning to end, the doubts, not knowing the industry, and in hindsight, educating children is like
Educating people and knowing
people.
people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Well, we
Very,
always say it really is a people industry. I mean, at the end of the day,
yeah.
every realtor has access to the data and the recent sales and the comparables. It's more, managing people and their expectations and their emotions. Like selling a house, for some people, it's something they do only once or twice in a lifetime.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
it's unfamiliar territory, right? So it's dealing with those emotions that come along with it, which surprisingly, I think ended up being a lot harder, or something I wasn't expecting as much. I was expecting like the numbers, the analytics, that sort of thing to be what I would find difficult. And then I quickly realized like that's actually the easy part. It's understanding people and knowing what they need and how you can be there to support them and help them has been a part that I don't think I expected or realized that was going to play such a large role in the beginning.
Yeah, very cool. I love it. I love it. This is such a great story. Tell us a little bit more about how you built your business throughout those 8 years in terms of like what have you implemented systems or actions that brought you success?
Well, I've sort of now got my real estate business. I do have a team that works with me now as well. When I started, I was on my own. After I'd say the first 18 months, I did one deal in 18 months.
Have
And
fun.
best friend's parents bought a house with me here in Burlington.
Love it.
And they've now turned into one of my biggest referral source and one of my best clients. And we've actually done 2 or 3 deals for them directly and some of their family members and their children. So I'm forever grateful for them, trusting me at the beginning when they knew more than anyone. I was brand new to the business. Um, and I've just had a great sort of support system of friends and family who, have referred me to others as well as use me themselves for their transactions. But having the team really helped. Once I got to a point where I was doing enough business on my own and starting to feel like I need help, like I need someone to do the administrative part. So I'd hired a part-time administrator to jump on board and help out with like the back end stuff, like paperwork and getting our newsletters out and organizing any client events and things like that. That just allowed me to have more time out prospecting and meeting clients and doing the on the ground work versus sitting behind the computer, sort of doing the more clerical administrative duties. So that was really helpful and was definitely like a big step as far as growing the business and being able to handle more and, take on a bigger capacity of clients. And then staging also then, just in case I didn't have enough work.
Just to add more to your to-dos.
I also have a staging company that
Oh
I
my God.
attribute it to success in my real estate business because that actually started for me. I never had any idea it would get to the point it's at today where it's become its own full-time job,
Yeah.
its own separate business where I don't just stage for my own listings, but I stage for agents in my office, in my brokerage, and outside of my brokerage. But that kind of started in that first 18 months where I had done one deal and was kind of looking around going like, what do I do? Like I need some sort of extra income or just I need to put myself out there and start to learn more about the business. And I was just sort of, you're like a sponge. In the beginning, you're just wanting to dabble with everything and just figure it all out. So I
Yeah.
would tag along with some agents and help them with staging. And that quickly turned into them going like, hey, you kind of have a knack for this. Like next time I'll just send you the address and like you go take care of it for me. And then they could go, carry on with whatever they needed to do. And I loved it. I really enjoyed doing the staging. And that became something that the more other agents in the office were hearing that I was doing this, they were going, oh, okay, I just got a new listing. Can you go do a consult? Or can you, we've got one vacant bedroom. Can you set it up like a bedroom or like an office or, whatever they needed. And then that quickly grew legs of doing a lot of staging just within our Burlington office. And then other agents would hear through the grapevine, if you purchase a listing and they're asking the listing agent, who did your staging? And then they would connect with me. So it ended up just becoming something where I'm like, oh my gosh, now I need to hire people to help me with this because I'm only one person and I can't do it all. But I didn't want to let it go because I really enjoy it. And it's such a nice complement to the real estate side of things. So
It goes together really good.
exactly, hand in hand. And it allows me to include full staging in all of my listings. So that's a huge added service to my clients on the real estate side. And then it also helps me because I can employ people to help do the staging and help run that business as well. So it's just kind of one of those feel good things where I'm like, it started off so innocently and so small and it grew these legs and has now turned into something that I'm really excited and really proud of. Yeah, so that company is called Turnkey Staging. And we kind of service mostly Burlington, pretty much anywhere. We'll do like Burlington, Hamilton, Milton, Oakville, and out a little bit towards Niagara is where we usually service. But I was actually in Toronto last night doing a staging consult. It kind of takes you everywhere because someone will be with you in Burlington, then they're like, now we have a house to sell somewhere else. So you end up going a little bit further than you may intend in the beginning, but we love it. So that's been another huge part of, I guess, the success story is just, seeking opportunities and not letting them fall by the wayside and just going, okay, how can I like keep this going and help this to build my business and help it grow? And it's been really exciting.
Yeah, two silos that are very complementary and help you grow and put your name out there. It's such a great.
Absolutely. And I get to see tons of beautiful homes all the time. And it's funny. I've actually had instances where I've staged a home for someone else and been like, oh my gosh, I have a buyer for this. And I've actually staged it and then sold it to my own buyers, which has been kind of fun when they're going like, oh, this house is really nice. Oh, who staged this? I'm like, well, that was me too. So we get to have little moments like that. But so, stuff like that's fun as well. And it allows me to be out there and seeing more listings than I, may get a chance to otherwise. So it's a great kind of off-market preview of what's coming up, which is sort of my inside track for my clients too.
I love it. This is cool. This is cool. Very nice story too. Like to tell your clients, your buyers, your sellers, to just all intertwines.
Totally.
What would be one thing that you've learned, either business, I guess, that must happen for you to be successful? Something that would be your non-negotiable.
Ooh, that's a tough one. A non-negotiable. I think one thing I've learned now, if you had asked me this question 6 years ago, I think I probably would have struggled with an answer because at that point I'm like, I'll just do anything to get the business going. And, if it means working like 24 hours straight, I'd be like, no problem. Whereas now I think my non-negotiables are, I've realized for me to be able to manage everything I'm managing, I also need to take care of myself too. So things like going to the gym in the morning, like that's something I carve out time for myself. I figure skate competitively on a synchronized skating team. So I do that every Friday night with a group of women here in Washington, and we compete all over Canada. We actually went to Germany this past April for an international competition. So things like that help kind of keep me grounded in the sense that this line of work, being self-employed and having two businesses where I'm self-employed, it can occupy a lot of time. And I never like saying no to people. So I try to take on as much as possible, but I love that I have like my Friday nights are sacred. My morning at the gym is sacred. And I think without having those things that I sort of implement and go, it's a non-negotiable, that time's carved out. If someone wants to see something during that time, it has to be like very time sensitive, and that's the only time it can happen for me to cancel, because you can't pour from an empty cup, right? You need to sort of do the things that are important to you, and we all need to have that balance as well. And I think entrepreneurship is wonderful, but finding the balance, I think anyone would agree, is it's a constant work in progress of just trying to take on as much as you can without burning out. So I would say, the carving out time for myself is the non-negotiable.
That's a great learning. And like you said, it's constant, right? You learn it and then you'll mess it up a couple times.
You
Then
never perfect it.
yes, you'll get back to it. I love
it. Yeah, constantly trying to figure that part out. But getting better at it for sure.
Nice. Very cool. How do you get more leads? What are your lead generating activities? What are steps that you put in place or actions that you put in place for yourself?
For me, I really like being in front of people. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm not like a door knocker or a cold caller, mostly because I don't like when people do that. Like if someone knocks on my door to sell something, I'm pretty quick to want to get rid of them. So it's not something I feel comfortable doing. I give a lot of credit to people who do, because I know it's not easy. So for those who are comfortable with it, good on them. I'm not one of those people. So for me, it's things like an open house. I love doing open houses because the people are coming to me first. So I feel very confident to start a conversation and just get to know them. And I find for me and my personality, and maybe it's the teaching background as well, being in front of people face to face versus on the phone or, over email, like that's where I think I kind of thrive. And I just make really good connections in person. So that seems to be a place that a lot of my leads outside of like a referral from friends and family, I would say my best lead source is through open houses.
Love it.
And just being able to have systems in place now where we follow up with them and just make sure we're keeping sort of in touch with people that we've met. Because a lot of times you meet people in an open house. I think one of my very first open house conversions from meeting them into actually turning into a transaction, I met them at an open house I was doing for a condo in Milton, and they bought me 16 months later.
Wow.
So it wasn't just the Monday after the open house saying thanks for coming and that's it. Like I kept following up, kept checking in, and eventually the time was right for them, and we managed to get them a property in Milton, and then they've actually bought a second property with me here in Burlington, and they've become really great clients and a great referral source too. But they originally came from an open house, and after 16 months turned into an actual client. So it's, and we always say like we need business today as much as we do in a year from now or a year and a half from now. So it's just about trying to keep that sales funnel full and always having people at all different steps in the timeline of when they want to buy. Not everyone wants to go buy a house tomorrow, but making sure that you're there to say when the time comes, and that can be today, tomorrow, 5 years from now, we're still here.
I love that.
The face-to-face open houses, I'd say, and just conversation. I talk a lot, so talking to people and is something that I think most people who know me, it doesn't take them long to know that I'm in real estate. Even with my skating team, like we'll be there on a Friday night and they usually come to me with some question of, hey, my landlord just called me and this happened, like what should I do? Or the neighbor's house sold, can you find out what the price is? And I love that people think to contact me right away. I want to be top of mind, right? So I think that's just, I attribute it to the fact that I'm not shy to tell people I'm in real estate, and I'm a bit of a soft seller. Like I don't push people. I don't, harp on, hey, are you ready to buy? Are you ready to sell? But definitely always want to just be a resource for people to feel comfortable to reach out and say, hey, I've got a real estate question. Can you help me out?
Yeah.
And it's always yes.
Just being there for them, really. Just being there, offering your knowledge and answering questions. It's simple. And I like the open house strategy in terms of long term. It's never like right away. And that's the misconception sometimes. Realtors get into the business and they want deals now because but it's the work you put in now may pay, like you said, 16 months. That's a long time, but
it's funny how fast the time goes, because it was when those clients purchased something, it made me look back and go, hey, when did we first meet? And I found my open house sheet and the sign-in sheet, and I was like, oh my gosh, it was almost like just over or a year and a half ago. And it didn't feel like that much time by the time we got to that 16 months. But when you go back and look, you're like, holy smokes. But yeah, a lot happens in that time too. But I remember in the beginning getting discouraged when you would meet someone at an open house and they'd say, oh, come take a look at my house, let me know what it's worth. And I was so excited, and I'd go and they're like, great, thanks for the info. We're not thinking of selling anytime soon, maybe in the spring or maybe in a year. And I kind of left feeling so deflated, going, oh, that's in my mind. I just kind of thought I was going to go tell them what their house is worth, and they'd be like, great,
yes,
tomorrow, let's get started. And I went to a colleague mentor of mine, totally bummed out, telling her, I'm like, oh, I thought, I'm so prepared and I gave all this information and they don't want to sell for like a year. And she's like, so what? You need to pay in a year. Like, keep in contact with them. If you see something that sells on their street, let them know. And it's that kind of like mentorship and the support around me with the people that I get to work with that helped me to kind of start to see those things and go, okay, these are all actually opportunities, versus just thinking so close-minded of like, if they don't want it today, now what? Where you're going, no, this is someone who they could be someone who's going to come back into the picture down the road. And that's great, because you want the longevity in the business. You don't want to just be in it for today or this week or this month.
Yeah. I love it. The quick mindset shift, right? From being bummed out to seeing, oh, it's an opportunity. Here's the client for later, which now nurture and get the reward later. Love it. Very cool.
It's exciting because I have a team now as well. One of my agents or licensed agents on the team, she's been in the business for 5 or 6 years. So she's well versed and seasoned and kind of knows the ins and outs. Whereas one of my newest hires, she's 6 months into business. So it's kind of, for me, relaying these stories of when, like, I remember the point she's at now, where you're excited and you're going, oh, they didn't call me back, or oh, this happened, or they're not ready. And so it's nice to kind of have that full circle moment where I get to say, like, I get how you're feeling. I've been there, but remember that house that we just sold? That's someone I met 2 years ago. Or this is, kind of telling them where these leads came from or originated from. The stories behind them make you go like, okay, I see the point in following up or keeping up with people, because timing's everything. And it doesn't have to be a disappointment just because their timing isn't today. So I do enjoy getting to have that teaching moment or sort of like perspective shift, like you said, of saying like, okay, but look at it like this.
Yeah. That's amazing. Very cool. And very cool that you had that opportunity to have a mentor to tell you that and not give up at that point.
Oh, totally. I mean, anyone in real estate, we definitely have days where we're like, did I make a mistake? Is this the right career? Oh my gosh, like it's hard. It's 100% sales-based jobs or commission jobs they're tough.
Yeah, it's on you to do it all.
You need the people around you who are, like, we can't all be up or positive at the same time. So to have those people around you to kind of lift you up when you're struggling, and then when they're having a moment, you get to say like, hey, come on, like we've got this and we can figure this out. So yeah, the network is everything. I can't say enough about my circle here at the office and just within the industry in general. Like I'm pretty fortunate to have great people around me.
That's amazing. So great. Thank you. We have some rapid fire questions for you, where are just quick, fast questions, a little bit from marketing to social media to leads. So if you're ready, I can start with the first one.
Okay, ready.
What's your best marketing strategy?
My best marketing strategy. I'm huge with social media. I love social media, one, because there's no cost to it. I mean, we can boost ads and do that at a minimal cost compared to like a bus ad or a newspaper or something like that.
Sure.
And I just find with that, because a lot of my business is, friends, family, people who know me, social media is a really great way for people who are acquaintances, but maybe not like super close, to when they meet me, they're like, oh, you're that realtor. Oh, you're in real estate. And I love that people, when they meet me, recognize that because they've usually seen it on social media. So I find that's such a great tool. And I say it to, new agents in the business too. I'm like, make use of it, because, we can all, of course, I'd love to have billboards and bus ads and all these, great big marketing tools, but I think it's important knowing how to capitalize on the tools that are so readily available and very cost effective. So yeah, social media is my big one.
Nice. What is the most effective social media platform for you?
For me, it's Instagram, I think. I just find that maybe it's just an age thing or a generational thing. I find Facebook is good. Like a lot of like my parents or aunts and uncles, they're the ones always noticing what I'm doing on Facebook. Whereas if I mention something on Instagram, they're like, I didn't see that one, because I just don't think it's something that they use. Whereas people around my age or younger, it's all on Instagram. I think TikTok would be a big thing. I'm promising myself to get into that. That's a goal for my 2024 business plan, is I need to figure out this TikTok thing. So it hasn't been something I've used yet, but I'm hopeful that it'll be a platform that, gets a lot of activity and attention in the future for me.
Nice. Getting there. I love it.
Yeah.
Your advice for new realtor?
Ooh, advice for new realtors. Don't give up. Definitely find people that you're comfortable with and you trust, and just ask to tag along. I think sometimes when we're new, we have that imposter syndrome of, who's going to want me to come? I don't know what I'm doing. But I think what I realized when I was new and going along with people, and I would just say, I'm like, is it okay if I come? Like, am I cramping your style? And they're like, no, you actually make me look like a rock star. Because to them, to their clients, they can sort of present it as, hey, I'm bringing this newer agent along to shadow me and, learn the business, which they would only be doing that with someone who's seasoned and experienced and successful. So in turn, it actually makes us look good too. So I got to do that when I was new. And now I love being that sort of resource for new agents to say, like, I've got a listing appointment. Do you want to come and, see how it goes and see what we do? Or my newest team member that I hired when she first started, I said, come sit, my open house with me, and just, you can watch how it goes, how I talk to clients or people who are coming in. And I think it's such a great way for new agents to just sort of start to understand the business, because it's experience. And if you have no clients, why not tag along with someone who does? And you can see, learn the ropes that way. So when you do have a client, you don't feel like you're doing it for the very first time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a win-win for both of you. Love it.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. What is your top income generating activity? Kind of touched on.
Income generating activity. That's a tricky one. I mean, staging, I would say, plays a big role in that. That's something that, as far as services I use for my business, the staging thing, I never expected it to be another full-time job. So I would say, as far as income, like that does actually produce a full-time income for me on the side. So hands down, that's got to be it. But aside from that, I would say it's just got to be family, friends, referrals. Like, people who know me and like me are really great at passing my name along, which turns into business and clients down the road. So that's been, I guess, a very close second to the staging.
Yeah, very cool. And what's your non-income generating activity? Something that every realtor should drop, should stop doing in their business.
Should stop doing newspaper ads. I hate to say that, but yeah, they seem very, very expensive. And I had a client who was set on wanting things in the newspaper. That was her non-negotiable when I listed her property.
Yeah.
And I explained why I didn't feel that was the best way to use our resources or our budget for listing, but she was adamant, and it was that or not get the listing. So I agreed, and I can attest that I spent a lot of money in an area that it just didn't turn. Yeah, there's a lot of the stuff I was doing on social media, and even boosting, like spending money on boosting ads and posts on Facebook, social media, Instagram, LinkedIn, things like that. I was actually getting interactions and questions through those, whereas the newspaper ads, it was like crickets. It cost me, I think, $1,400 over the course of a month. Yeah. And it felt like the biggest waste of money. We sold the house, it all worked itself out anyway. Yes. But yeah, it's certainly not something that I'm telling people is a good idea.
Cool. I love it. How do you win more listings?
I think I have an approach that's just very, I want to say very honest. Not that people, go in without being honest, but I'm very conservative on my end. Being someone who, doesn't come from like an analytic numbers background. For me, I just need to feel like the person who I'm working with, I just trust them and know that they have my best interests. And I think my approach to people is exactly that kind of how I'd mentioned before, how any realtor can go through and look at the data and recent sales and, pull together a CRM, like a market analysis, something like that. But at the end of the day, you just want to know that when push comes to shove and you're trying to decide, like, how much should we pay for this house, or, what should we list for, or what's the strategy? You want to know that it's somebody who genuinely cares for the outcome and is not what we call like a transactional realtor. Like, I would much rather have a smaller pool of clients, but a lot of return repetitive business from them, versus transactional, where you do one deal and you never hear from them again, they never refer you again. So I think for me, getting the listings is more just appealing to that. I'm usually going into a listing appointment to someone who I don't necessarily know them firsthand, but they know me through someone else. And I mean, a referral is the highest compliment in my opinion, because it means somebody else trusted me enough, enjoyed the experience so much so that they're going to pass me along to the people that they trust and care for. So, I hold that with the highest regard when I'm going into a listing appointment, to say, like, I'm going to take care of you like I would my own friends or my own family.
Nice. Love it. Very cool. What is a key industry resource for you? A book, an author, some sort of seminars? Where do you go?
I'm not a huge reader. I've been getting into audio books on on Audible. So I find that, because we're in the car all the time, that's a great way to kind of get more into, I guess, reading or being a little more well-versed. When I'm staging too, I'll listen to a lot of audibles, and I'm big into like motivational, like David Goggins, or what's the other book I just read recently or listened to recently was Atomic Habits. So things that are sort of promoting the small changes you can make and the consistencies that you can put into your daily routine to really build success. And I think a lot of times we have these ideas of we have to make some huge shift or huge change to see any kind of outcome or positive outcome. And the more I'm reading sort of motivational books or anything to do with like athletes or people who have grown successful businesses, it didn't come from these massive shifts they made. It came from the consistency in the tiny little things every day. Like I forget which, it might have been in David Goggins' book. I might be misquoting it. Maybe it's not him, but one of the books I read where they were talking about in the military or the Marine Corps, where they make you make your bed every day.
Oh, yes.
And they're going, it's not about the making the bed. It's about, doing that every single day, setting your day up. If you can consistently do these small things, then it makes you go, okay, well, now my bed's made. Maybe I'll tidy up this, or maybe I'll pick up the laundry. And you just keep that tone throughout your day. And, the first time I sort of read that, I'm not sure I really bought in, but when I started to implement it, I'm like, you know what, there's something to this.
Yeah, it's like you're accomplishing something first and then it's your day up. Yeah.
And I love having a checklist. I am always like a to-do list, and these things like that, they're small tasks where I'm going, okay, check. It's, 8:30 in the morning and I can already check off the gym. I've made my bed, or I've, thrown a little laundry in or something like that. And they don't, individually they seem small, but when you add those up day after day, week after week, I think that's where you actually see big changes.
Yeah. Love it. Very cool. And last is, what's the best advice you've ever received?
The best advice I've ever received. It's actually advice that I give now a lot too, but from one of my mentors who I still work closely with now. I was upset about, if I'm being honest, I can't remember what it was, but something, whether it was losing a listing or thinking I was something to do with the business and being excited for something and then being totally bummed out that it didn't come together. And I kind of like stayed in that bummed out sort of zone for too long. Like I spent a day or two just continually going like, I can't believe that didn't happen or it didn't come together. And one of my mentors, she said to me like, okay, enough's enough. Like, I get it. It's frustrating. You're mad. Be mad for 5 minutes and then move on. Like there's no, you don't progress. You don't get anywhere by just being upset about what's already happened. But now, like, what's that expression they say? Like, you either win or you learn. Like, if you lose it, who cares? Figure out why, and the next time, do better. But you can't live in that, frustration or in that down mood for too long, because you don't resonate well with people. Like, people can sense that feeling of, like you're frustrated or bummed out, and you're not presenting yourself sort of in that high energy, sort of enthusiastic way you need to. And I think that was it was a simple, small thing, and it has stuck with me. I'm sure she told me that probably 7 or 8 years ago. Wow. And I have moments where I'm like, even now when I'm kind of bummed out, I'm like, okay, be mad for 5 minutes, let yourself, feel it, and then move on. That's it. We're done. And I think that helps me to not waste time being stuck, focusing on things that I can't control and I can't change because it's already happened. And I do give that advice a lot too. So it definitely was a good one.
Feel it, let it go. I love it.
Exactly.
Nice. Thank you so much. Thanks for sharing all of those tips and those learnings that you've came across throughout your careers. Tell us a little bit, where do we find you on Instagram and your turnkey staging business?
Yes, well, on Instagram, my handle is Lindsay Remax, so you can find me there. And then Turnkey Staging is my Instagram for my staging page. And then we've just got a new email now that I've got the team growing. We've bought a domain, so now everything is just at lindsaythomas.ca. So you can find my email is lindsay@lindsaythomas.ca, and then all my team members at the same thing as well with their name in front. But yeah, Instagram is the best place to kind of reach out to us, or over email.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing all of this. I'm sure lots of realtors will find it very insightful.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Yay. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, make every action count. Reflect on the insights from today's episode. Ask yourself, which strategies and actions shared today can you implement to grow your business and win more listings? Your growth journey begins with a single step. What will yours be? If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with your network and help spread the word. Together, we can inspire and empower a community of realtors to crack the code to real estate success. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast, Realtors Conspiracy. Stay motivated and see you at the next episode.